All right, guys. I got Curtis King back with us for part two. We're going to talk a little Virginia Tech WVU, and also he's going to give us some picks for his locks for this NFL Week 2 edition. Welcome back, Curtis. How you been?
Thank you, sir. Been pretty good. How you been?
Been living it. So, what's your thoughts on this weekend's game between Virginia Tech WVU?
This is the biggest game in the Neil Brown era, as he even claimed. This game's fucking huge, man. Virginia Tech's a huge rivalry. I was actually at the last game they played in D.C., and their fans were mocking us, singing Country Roads after the game. It was pretty infuriating. So I want this one pretty bad as a West Virginia fan. West Virginia is actually a favorite in this game, which I don't think anybody saw coming.
Yeah.
And West Virginia is a -3 favorite right now. And it's almost like they're begging you to bet Virginia Tech. So if you truly trust the climb as a WU fan, this is it right here. I think West Virginia is gonna come out and win. I don't know how. Versus Long Island last week, WVU ran for 198 yards. 98 of those yards were Garrett Green rushing the ball. So without Garrett Green, West Virginia was 42 for 100 on the ground. But that's versus Long Island.
Oh, wow.
That is bad. Letty Brown was 15 for 31 on the ground. That's against Long Island. They're going to have to do a little bit better than that. So that's definitely concerning.
Yeah, I even said it early in the episode. Letty Brown, I think, was only, as of right now, this season is averaging 3.3 yards a carry.
Yeah.
You gotta have that. He's got to step it up for W to win.
Yep.
I mean, you cannot rely on on Dodes or any of those guys. It has to start with Letty Brown. You have to have a run game. If not, I have Virginia Tech winning this game right now. Now, if Letty Brown can get it going, because like you said, that run game has not been very well, not very good. You have to have the run game. Without that, Virginia Tech wins.
I expected the offensive line to be a lot better this year. Virginia Tech's they have an all ACC tight end who's out for the year. He just got hurt, so that's big. Virginia Tech's first game on the road. Virginia Tech picked off Sam Howell, the UNC quarterback, 3 times. Jared Daggy can't turn the ball over. If he turns the ball over, we're going to lose. We were -4 in the turnover category versus Maryland. He's got to hang on to the ball. I would love to see Garrett Green get a majority of the snaps. I don't know if that's going to happen. I think Daggy knows the offense a little bit better. But if Daggy does turn the ball over, we need to make the switch to Garrett Green. We just have to. And Garrett Green has mobility back there. I mean, he can avoid the pass rush with his feet. Jared Daggy's kind of a statue back there. So I like Garrett Green, but we'll see. This has been a tough week in practice. Neil Brown, I mean, this is the biggest game of his tenure at West Virginia. So I'm looking forward to it. I wish it was a night game. It's a noon game. They say it's going to be sold out. The students better have their asses in the seats, and they better be loud because we're going to need it.
Yeah, I mean, I think West Virginia can afford a turnover. But if you start getting into the 2-3 range, especially how they did Sam Howell in week 1, home or not, and with sold out, it's not going to matter. I think with their quarterback, what's his name? I just had it pulled up here. Braxton Burmeister, if I pronounced that correctly. He is 5-1 as a starter so far.
Mm-hmm.
Now, like you said, this is their first road game. But man, where do you see it if something like, you say they don't win on Saturday? How does that with the noise with Neil Brown?
It's not good if they don't win. We're going to have to control the special teams. Virginia Tech's always had outstanding special teams, and West Virginia can't have any muff kicks, muff fumbles, block punts, or any stuff like that. That's going to be huge. Just not making mistakes in the special teams. And West Virginia's only forced 1 turnover on defense all year, so we're going to have to make some noise. I like our defense. They're young. They do have depth. We're going to have to get to the quarterback. But yeah, if West Virginia goes 2-2 here, and then I believe we have Oklahoma on deck. Don't quote me on that, but
I'm gonna pull their schedule up real quick here. I mean, I think so. I know Virginia Tech's won 3 in a row in this series. I think the
Yep.
all-time record is WVU owns it at 28, 23, and 1. They played in 2018, as you just said, played in 2005 and 2004, and W's last win was 2003. That was back when they had Rasheed Marshall, Chris Henry, Rich Rod's, I think, like second or third year or something like that.
That was a Thursday night game, and Virginia number 3 in the country. I remember that. That was awesome. I think they blew them out 28-7.
It was 28-3. I think it was like they only got 3. Yeah.
Terrence Garvin had a 97-yard touchdown, I believe. Oh, that was a great game.
I remember watching that in the living room with my family. It was, I do remember that being a Thursday night game. Let me see here. Let me get their schedule here pulled up. But no, man, I like West Virginia's chances as long as, the two X factors for me with them. First off, turnovers, zip. You can't really have any of those. And Letty Brown, you got to have either that or someone else in the run game has got to step up.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot put it all, on the quarterback's shoulders on this game. But let's see here. If I can get it pulled up here. All right, yeah. After this, I believe they have Oklahoma. They go at Oklahoma on the 25th. Then you got Texas Tech at home. You go at Baylor, at TCU. And then you got Iowa State coming to town. Oklahoma State comes to town. November 13th, you go at Kansas State. Then home against Texas and home against Kansas.
Yeah, that's a pretty tough schedule, and this is about as close to a must-win as you're going to get, because we're going to go to Oklahoma next week, regardless of what happens, and it's probably going to get ugly. Oklahoma's won, I believe, 8 straight versus West Virginia, and Riddler's gonna have a field day against us. But let's beat the Hokies. The over/under in this game is 50.5. It seems a tad high to me. I would lean the under. I'd see this game being in the 20s.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was kind of thinking too. But I was shocked. You said it before. I was shocked that West Virginia was actually favored.
Yeah.
I really think maybe being a home game for them put them over the top with it. I mean, I've heard people say it gives you like a 3.4 advantage or something like that. And I think that's possibly the reason why. If this is played in Blacksburg or a neutral site, Virginia Tech's probably favored.
For sure.
But, West Virginia being a home and everything, it's hard to count out West Virginia and Morgantown. Whoever, no matter who they play. But we'll see. I'm looking forward to the game. I think this weekend's slate for college football is off the chart for this week.
Mm-hmm.
I really like it. So we were talking some NFL before. What's your locks for this weekend for week 2?
Last week was pretty brutal for me. I have 3 NFL future teams. I have the Redskins to win their division.
Mm-hmm.
I have the Patriots to win over 9.5 games, and I have the Browns to win their division. All 3 teams lost, and all 3 teams were winning in the fourth quarter. Patriots were driving in, and Damian Harris fumbled on the Miami 9-yard line.
Mm.
Antonio Gibson fumbled on his own 4-yard line. Fitzpatrick got hurt, and the Browns, they were up double digits, and they just choked that game. Nick Chubb fumbled. Their punter muffed a fumble. So it was kind of a rough week, but I expect those teams to bounce back this week. I do like the Redskins or Washington, whatever the hell they're called, Washington football team, WTF. They played the Giants tonight. I expect their defensive line to get after Daniel Jones. The Giants O-line is terrible. Chase Young was kind of shut down last week to the Chargers O-line. Rashawn Slater, offensive tackle, rookie from Northwestern. He shut down Chase Young. He did in college. Chargers looked great on the O-line last week, and I expect a mean Washington defense to get after Daniel Jones tonight and to turn him over. Daniel Jones fumbles a lot.
Oh.
And I don't think Saquon Barkley is fully healthy. So I do like the Redskins tonight. I believe that line's 3.5, but I'm not playing that. But I'm looking forward to watching that. I need the Redskins to win as I have them winning the division. My top 3 plays, I have the Steelers -6 versus the Raiders. Huge win for the Raiders over over the Ravens. It was a great game. It's a tough spot. They just played an overtime, emotional game. They're going all the way to the East Coast. They lost their starting guard with a torn ACL. They lost their starting edge rusher, Yannick Ngakoue. He's going to be out. The rookie tackle from Alabama, Alex Leatherwood, he did not look good versus the Ravens. He's the guy who jumped off sides on the 1 yard line.
Yeah.
He's going to be matched up versus T.J. Watt, the best defensive player in the NFL. So I think that's a tough spot for the Raiders, and I like the Steelers to cover 6 in that game. I hate the Steelers. I really just hate them as a team. Eat shit, Pitt. That applies to the NFL too, but not sold on that Raiders defense, and they're a little bit banged up. My second play, I like the Panthers plus 3.5 at home versus the Saints. The Saints just blew out the Packers 38-3 in Jacksonville. I have some Packers fans down here in Tampa that wanted me to go to the game. Thank God that I didn't, because they would have been angry the whole game. I mean, Aaron Rodgers had the worst quarterback rating in the NFL through week 1. So I think that's a little bit of an overreaction. Panthers only catching 3.5. It's like they're begging you to bet on the Saints. Jameis Winston threw 5 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. Expect him to get picked off a couple times here. Panthers really look good with Christian McCaffrey, Robbie Anderson, DJ Moore. I like that offense, and I expect the Panthers to cover that game. My third and final play is the Niners minus 3 at Philly. The Niners are pretty good on the road. They were up 41-14 against the Lions with 2 minutes left. The line was 8.5. The Lions score a touchdown, get the 2-point conversion, get an onside kick, score a touchdown, get the 2-point conversion. They only lose by 8. They cover the spread with 2 minutes left.
Oh,
just disgusting. Typical NFL for you. But and then Philly, they go to Atlanta and they just blow the doors off Atlanta. And the Niners are only minus 3 in that game versus Philly. And I think Philly beating a bad Falcons team with one of the worst defenses in the NFL, I think the Niners go in there and win. I think Nick Bosa gets to Jalen Hurts, and I like the Niners to cover 3 in that game and to win.
Okay. Man, you were talking real quick before we do finish up here. What'd you think of the ending of the Raiders-Baltimore game, the Vegas-Baltimore game?
It was crazy, man. I have the Browns future bet to win that division, so obviously I was rooting for the Raiders. And, just an incredible game.
I was watching it. I was like, what? Now, I watched it through I don't know if you were able to get it or not, but they're like Peyton and Eli do this whole little telecast. Yep. Man, I love that.
It's outstanding, dude.
I'm not going to watch anything else but that. If that's on every single Monday night, that's where I'll be. I loved it. But
it was outstanding.
Authentic. I loved it. Yeah, it's got like a. I mean, they actually know what they're talking about. I don't know if they're going to do like guest quarterbacks on throughout the whole year. Maybe I know they had Russell Wilson in there last time, but man, that was fun. I liked it. But man, that ending, I was not expecting that. You saw the offsides and then they just chuck it up, and I was like, all right, But because I think they had brought the kicker out, and then they're like, no, fuck that, we're gonna bring it back in, and then bring the offense back out. Yeah, it was wild. I don't know.
I thought John Gruden was about to blow a gasket there for a second.
Yeah,
sure they were gonna lose.
Yeah, that was. Hey, I'm just glad football's back though. That's what I'm looking forward to the most. But I think with week 3 in college and then going into week 2 for the NFL, man, I think it's gonna be a really, really good week though.
Yep. I'll tell you what, Mike. As good as Peyton and Eli were, I'm not sure they could beat Booger McFarland, man. I missed that guy on Monday Night Football.
I was hoping you were sarcastic on that.
Yeah.
I was about to say, man, I love the memes that they did with him. Like, I mean, he would always, and he'd like ride around in that fucking fucking yeah, I don't even know what it was, but no, man, Booger, nothing against the guy, but they need to make a change. That shit was horrible. that shit was awful. But no, man, I'm psyched for week 2 and week 3 for NFL and college. Man, you talk about Aaron Rodgers though, man. He about blew it for my fantasy team. He gave me like a point, maybe 2 points. Yeah, he didn't go the entire game. He didn't go the entire game. He didn't go over like 4 points the entire game. I had Jameis on the bench. I had Jameis on the bench, and I'm like, man, you know what? Aaron Rodgers, Jameis Winston, easy pick. And man, Jameis ended up getting like close to 30, I think.
Yeah,
close to 30 points for me. And
I read a stat if Aaron Rodgers would have spiked the ball every single down, he would have had a higher passer rating than he did.
Wow. You know what? This will totally happen if I start Jameis Winston this week and bench Aaron Rodgers. Almost the exact opposite. I'm not saying Jameis would be that bad, but Aaron would probably go off for like 30 points, 4 touchdowns, maybe a pick. Jameis would throw for like 2 touchdowns and 3 picks. Like that just would be my kind of game that, would happen. Let me see what he ended up getting.
Man, he needs that damn hair, man. That hair does not look good. He looks like he does not give a single fuck out there. He looks like he's trying to get traded, but don't bench him because they're going to bounce back heavy against the Lions. The Lions defense is atrocious. They just lost their one of the best cornerbacks for the year. He tore his Achilles. Okuda from Ohio State.
Oh,
Devontae Adams, I drafted him first pick, and he in my first round, and he didn't do shit either. Robert Tonyan had him in the league, but it's kind of surprising.
Who was it? Drawing a blank now. Yeah, I mean, with him playing against Detroit, bad defense. Oh, definitely. It would be hard for me to stop, like, to set Aaron Rodgers, especially. I think he'll improve. But man, I don't know if you saw it going around Facebook or not, but did you watch Shameless?
No.
Man, they have a picture of William H. Macy compared to Aaron Rodgers. And I'll post it on this video so you'll be able to see whenever you watch it. But, man, they look exactly the same. Like, just some fucking, some dude just lay around all day and, like, just drink beer. Like, I don't know.
Actually, I think I saw that picture.
Yeah, and who was the other? Oh, man, I'm drawing a blank now. Oh, son of a bitch. I don't know, man. It's going to come to me once I stop recording. But no, man. I think this week's gonna be really good. I'm glad it's back. I'm glad it was really good to see fans.
Oh yeah.
And I know I feel like I'm beating a dead horse with a lot of the comment with a lot of stuff that I say on all these episodes and everything. But man, just having fans back in the stadiums, it just feels good. It makes me feel good with it.
I really wanted to go to that West Virginia game in Morgantown. There's nothing like game day in Morgantown, but just couldn't really make it up there. Wasn't trying to fly and with all the masks and all that stuff. But it's going to be loud, man. I hope the fans are loud because it really does make a huge difference. And I mean, you could tell in Las Vegas, the Raiders fans were rowdy. They got to Lamar Jackson and he fumbled a couple times. And fans make a huge difference. So the home field advantage is officially back, and it is key. It's exciting to see again.
Yeah, that's even when I make a lot of my picks, and even before, I've always took home field advantage into consideration with everything, because especially in college, and I think you stated it last week, winning a road game in college especially is very hard to do. And you can say maybe even the same thing for the NFL, especially this year. I think the fans add at least anywhere between 3 to 4 points, and maybe even 5 in some cases, to that spread. And each team's a little different. You might have a bad team, so that's really not going to hurt you anything. But man, it's just good to see them back. It's good to see the pageantry. We have a whiteout with Auburn, Penn State this week. That's good. That's gonna be pretty exciting to see. Alabama going to Gainesville. That place is gonna be rowdy. You got Nebraska going to Norman, Oklahoma. I mean, that they haven't been played since 2010. I mean, that's man. I could go on for days. I really could, but
those Penn State whiteouts are badass, man.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm no fan of Penn State. And I remain neutral with this whole show, but man, I would love to go and see one in person.
Yeah, I mean, I was a big fan back in the Jerry Sandusky days, but not anymore.
Are you serious?
Nah.
Like, I was like, what the fuck?
You remember when Joe Paterno shit his pants on the sideline? He literally shit his pants on the sideline. Yeah, look it up on YouTube. He shit his pants on the sideline. And one other week, he broke his leg. Somebody ran right into him.
Oh, I do remember that. Yeah. Yeah, I remember that. I don't remember shitting his pants. I don't remember shitting his pants, but
yep, it's out there.
Once we get done here, I'll have to go on YouTube and try to find that, man. I was I don't know if you're too familiar with this or not, but I saw, because with the whole Sandusky thing, like, they took away, of course, Joe Paterno's wins for it. Now, Bobby Bowden had wins taken away for some type of other, nothing to do with, with what Penn State got caught with. It was like some cheating scandal or something like that.
Recruiting or something?
It wasn't really with recruiting. It was something to do with academic, like, something in that type of area. It was around like 06, 07 range. And they took away wins for him. But the NCAA in 2014 or 2015 gave, Joe Paterno's wins after he died back to him.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking, like, man, if the NCAA is going to give back Joe Paterno for what they did with kids, how in the hell are you not going to give Bobby Bowden his wins back?
Yeah, exactly.
That makes no sense to me. I mean, I know you, but yeah, that's just the NCAA for you. They're fucking.
Florida State had a little logo on their field in honor of Bowden. It was pretty sick.
Yeah. Yeah, man, this past week losing Jacksonville State, that was,
bad.
But man, I think with a lot of these programs like Florida State, I think Florida State's in the right direction still. But you got USC firing Clay Helton. I think, especially USC, Florida State, I think they're that one guy away from getting back, especially USC. USC's that name that blue bud has been around for a long time. And if they can just get that right guy, which they have not found that right guy since Pete Carroll. If they can just get that right guy, man, I really think they can get back to what they were, back in the 2000s and everything like that. That was a hell of teams back then. But
that's an attractive job. I think that their main guy they're going after is Eric Bellamy, whatever his last name is. He's the
dude from KC.
Yeah, he's the OC for the Chiefs. And then I heard Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer is not just going to leave the Jags.
Now I wanted to, that's all I want to ask you too, because I don't see that would be unprecedented if that would happen.
Yeah.
Dude ended up leaving after the first year, which I listen. I'm not holding anything. I'm not saying it's not going to happen. Urban Meyer's done some weird shit before.
Mm-hmm.
But man, imagine if he did. Imagine if he was like, you know what, man. It's like, I don't know about this. Like, I can go back to college. I can go back to what I was dominant at. Like, man, he's like, I mean, dude, because it is a different game.
Yeah, it's going to be a wake-up call.
Yeah, you talk about it in a gambling standpoint, but man, like, you've seen coaches not do very well. We just said about Pete Carroll. Nick Saban couldn't do it in the NFL. Now, if Nick Saban would have had Drew Brees like he wanted, maybe Nick Saban doesn't go to Alabama, and so on and so forth. But it is a completely different game. Now, Jimmy Johnson was able to do it. There's been some guys been able to do it. But do you think he'd be successful there? Or I know it's going to take a while, but.
No, I don't think so. I think their front office is just, I mean, it all starts up front with the GM. I hate the ETN pick. I think they needed to go O-line or defense. They took him in the first round. He's out for the year. I just think Jacksonville is just it all starts up front, the front office. I don't think they're the best front office. And what was I going to say? Yeah, back to the Saban days. Instead of getting Drew Brees like they were supposed to, they got Dante Culpepper.
Ooh.
And so that changes a lot.
Oh my God. I do remember that Dante Culpepper, man. I mean, Culpepper had his days, but we'll compare Drew. I think, what was it? Something with Drew Brees' medical examination. There was something to do with why the Dolphins didn't want him. It was something to do with his, I don't want to say his shoulder. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. But the Dolphins didn't they didn't want to clear him, or the doctors for the Dolphins didn't clear him. And next thing you know, he goes to New Orleans, and the rest is history.
Yeah.
That's a big what if in sports. Another what if Rich Rod goes to Alabama. That's another what if.
Yeah.
That's around the same time. You know,
Man, it really triggers me to hear these fans saying, "Fire Neil Brown, bring back Rich Rod." I mean, fuck Rich Rod, dude. He left us out to dry. I think he might have purposely blown that December 1st game against. I don't even want to bring it up, but man, Rich Rod was a great coach, but bring him back now, no. Like that's done. What he did.
You know what? I might keep that topic for the off season. Because and I don't, like I said, I don't want to get too much into it because save it for the off season. We got this and that, but man, I would like to. We need to talk more about that. If did Rich Rod blow it or did he not? I'm in the feeling that he didn't, man. I really it's hard for me to think that he would, being that he went to WVU, that he we're literally one game away. But we'll never know. We'll never know what really was going on in his head unless he writes like a book one day.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I was seeing some fans that were saying that, and it's more likely probably some of the same fans that were saying fuck him and this and that, and but no, I would love to talk about that here down the road and everything. I think it'd be a good conversation, but no, before we do get off here, do you have anything you want to get off your chest going into week 3 college football or week 2 in the NFL?
I think Andy Dalton plays his former team, the Bengals, this week. I think the Bears are going to win that game. Mm-hmm. I think the Bengals' offensive line is still a disaster, and they're going to be facing Khalil Mack this week. And everybody raved about the Jamar Chase pick. I mean, Jamar Chase had a great week 1. He had 100 yards and a big touchdown. But if you can't protect Joe Burrow, if he gets hurt again, I mean, you're done. So I think they should have gone Penei Sewell and drafted the tackle. I expect their offensive line to really struggle against Khalil Mack and the Bears front 7. But that'll be an interesting game for sure. Andy Dalton played really well against the Bengals. I believe it was last year versus the Cowboys. They beat him 30-7 with Dalton. One of his only bright spots with Dallas. But everybody's saying go to Justin Fields. And I mean, it all starts up front and all starts in the trenches. You got to protect your quarterback. The last thing you want to do is throw him to the wolves and have him start out and lose his confidence from the jump because his offensive line can't block and have him get hurt. So I think they'll stick with Dalton for at least a few more weeks.
Okay, man. One of my things before I want to throw a lock out here for the college football world right here. I want to take Army right now. I think they cover at 34.5 versus UConn. I'm taking Army to cover 34.5 versus UConn. I'm not picking it as one of my picks this week, but that's my, if you're taking covering, I think Army covers against UConn 34.5. UConn, man, you talk about a team that's went to dumps. But yeah, that's my lock of the week. But man,
I like it.
Yeah, I mean, it's
UConn is 0-3 against the spread this year. In their first game back, their coach said UConn didn't play a game last year because of COVID.
Yeah.
Their coach said, "I think we'll be better off since we didn't play last year. I think we'll be better off because of it." And then they proceeded to get blown out, like shit stomped. I forget what the score was, but yeah, that's probably arguably one of the worst teams in football this year. And Army's gonna run that option. They're gonna run the ball down their throat.
Man, so Randy Edsall, who's their coach, actually is gone. He said he's retiring. He's done. And if you remember, he was there before in the Big
Right.
East days, and
Yeah.
then he ended up going to Maryland.
Yep.
You know, and but no. Speaking of Maryland, for WVU, if you want fans to forget about that Maryland game, man, you come out and take care of business against Virginia Tech.
Yep.
I mean, you know how it operates. You go in there, and especially if you make a convincing win, and I think West Virginia is capable of doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I have Virginia Tech winning, West Virginia is also capable of taking care of business on Saturday
At home, yeah,
at
especially.
home and take care of business and make it a convincing win. I mean, Virginia Tech, like I said, they beat North Carolina. That was at home, you know, and we're going off a small sample size. That's all we're going off of. But I think West Virginia, even though I didn't pick them, they still have a shot. I mean, this is not you're not going up against a juggernaut. Both
Mm-hmm.
teams are gonna be psyched. They're gonna be ready to go. They're gonna be ready to hit somebody.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I listen. I'm gonna have like 3 TVs ready to go. Like I'm gonna be watching all these games. I'm psyched for this weekend. You know,
I'm ready. I hate Virginia Tech more than I hate Pitt as a West Virginia fan. I hate them, and I remember the Michael Vick and Marcus Vick days. Marcus Vick flipped off our fans, and Virginia Tech's had our number, so we owe them one for sure.
Oh yeah, it's like I said, it's been since 2003.
Mm-hmm.
Since granted they've only played 3 times since, but I feel like that is a game that should be played every single year.
Exactly, it really should.
It really should, you know, and I agree with how you feel with Virginia Tech. I think being from the southern part of West Virginia, though, really, I think that adds to that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever really kind of looked into that. You know, probably more people from the northern part of the state say, you know, they're Pitt. Everyone hates Pitt. Everyone hates Virginia Tech. But more, it would probably be Virginia Tech, you know,
Mm-hmm.
especially from this part of the state. But, yeah, man, that's what we got for today. Stick on once we finish up here, and we'll talk a little bit more and everything. But I appreciate you coming back on. We'll get you on next week for more of your locks. We'll talk WVU, Oklahoma. That's gonna be a good one. We'll see if you see how WVU looks this week. We'll talk a little bit more of that as well. But stick on after we get done here. We'll talk a little bit more.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man.